We are going to start mole concept. I have listed the topics, subtopics of mole concept over here. If you have any doubts in specific concepts, you can simply fast forward and you can go through that. So let's get started. We'll be starting with a representation of elements. Representation of element. So how we represent element? We just take x and x as a symbol, z as the atomic number, and a as a mass number, where z stands for atomic number, which is also telling us number of protons present in it, and a stands for mass number. Mass number nothing but sum of protons and neutrons. So similar thing can be written like this: p plus n, because p is protons and p plus n nothing but mass number. So one more thing we can add over here is p minus e, where p minus e stands for total charge. If, let us say, number of protons equal to number of electrons, then charge is 0. If charge is 0, such elements are called as neutral elements. Neutral elements. So apart from this representation, one more thing that we have to know is the fundamental properties, the parameters of protons, electrons and neutrons. Fundamental properties, like protons can be represented like this, where the upper one indicates the unit mass and that of lower one indicates unit charge. What does that mean? When if you don't know anything about protons, otherwise I would say proton is the smallest thing that we were knowing. Think of a situation: if I am knowing pen and there is nothing smaller than pen I know, then what I will do is, as for the rough calculation, relative calculation, I can consider mass of one pen as 1 unit. So this is just for the sake of easier calculations, but actual mass of this may be something else. So when I consider mass of one pen as 1 unit, thereafter what I can do is, if I want to measure any larger material, then I can keep on adding the pens there, thereby at one moment it will get balanced. Then I can say that the mass of this particular object has, let us say, 20 pens, where one pen mass is considered as 1 unit, so 20 pens becomes the mass of this. This is the relative mass, this is not the actual mass, so maybe mass of one pen is something else. Similarly, we were not knowing about mass of proton, then we considered its mass as unit mass. Similarly, we were not knowing the charge of proton, we assumed it as unit charge, one charge. So I'm writing that unit mass as 1 unit, where we use this to calculate the atomic mass. That's why this is called as 1 atomic mass unit. So it is used in the case of measuring atomic mass. But later, by using sophisticated instrument like mass spectrometer, we were able to calculate the actual mass of proton, and that was come out to be 1.673 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. This is the actual mass of proton, very less. We can see 10 raised to minus 24 grams there, but this is the arbitrary unit and this is the actual unit. So in many calculations we have to use this as the mass, not as this. Only in the case of calculating atomic mass we can use this, but we can convert that into gram. By now we are knowing 1 AMU is actually 1.673 into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. Similarly, if I go for charge, unit charge is 1 unit, and it is positive in nature, so I will put plus 1. So charge also we consider as 1 unit, but later we calculated actual charge of proton. So actual charge of proton was 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So positive. 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb was the actual charge of proton. So these both unit charge, unit mass, actual charge you have to remember. Similarly, if I go for electron, electron is represented like this, where upper one is mass. So mass wise it is considered as 0 unit, or to be very precise that is 0.005 something 5 AMU, but you can consider as 0 unit, almost nothing when I compare with the mass of proton. It is relative, it doesn't mean that actually mass is 0. So when I compare with the proton, mass is negligible, that's why it is considered as 0 unit. But later it was calculated, that was come out to be 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 28 grams. So this is the actual mass of electron. Now charge wise, if you see, again 1 unit charge but negative in sign. Magnitude wise, if you see, unit is same, I mean magnitude of charge is same, though mass is different. There is a huge difference in the mass, but charge wise both are having same charge, opposite in sign. So minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs. So charge is magnitude wise same but opposite in sign. If I go for neutrons, neutron is represented like this. So 0 charge and mass 1. So mass wise it is having same unit, that is 1 unit mass, we can say 1 AMU. So actually calculated, that was come out to be 1.675 into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. So this particular value is third decimal wise, if you see, neutron is slightly heavier than proton, so third decimal is greater in the case of neutron, so that you have to remember. And charge wise there is no charge as such. So from this, one thing we can understand is 1 AMU. 1 AMU is equal to 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. So this we'll be using every time later to convert AMU into gram. I'm just ignoring third decimal. Why? Because in this case this is also 1 AMU and this is also 1 AMU. I'm ignoring third decimal, so that we'll keep 1 AMU as 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 grams. So apart from this, one more thing you have to remember, if I take the ratio of mass of proton upon mass of electron, that is come out to be 1.673 into 10 raised to minus 24 divided by 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 28 gram. 10 raised to minus 28 gram. So this is come out to be 1.37. What does that mean? Mass of proton 1800 times greater than that of mass of electron. So this is also most of the time it is asked. So you have to remember the ratio, actual ratio. That means if you consider proton as an elephant, an electron will be an ant. So much mass difference is there. Though there is no difference in the charge except the sign, magnitude wise charge is equal. That's why charge of proton, one proton can be cancelled with charge of electron because equal in magnitude. But mass wise there is a huge difference. If we consider proton as elephant and electron has to be in the form of ant, that much of difference is there. So that's the reason why in this case, while calculating the mass of an atom, we only consider proton and neutron. We don't consider electron because adding electron does not make any difference. There is huge difference in the mass. So that's why in the arbitrary case also we have considered it as 0. Consider 0 because it is negligible. So that's why in the case of mass number also we don't consider electrons. So here next part will be understanding, remembering first 20 elements. We have to remember first 20 elements along with their mass number. So atomic number, element and mass number. So atomic number 1, hydrogen, 1 mass number. Atomic number 2, helium, mass number 4. Atomic number 3, lithium, mass number 7. Atomic number 4, beryllium, mass number 9. atomic number 5, boron, mass number 11, atomic number 6, carbon, mass number 12, atomic number 7, nitrogen, mass number 14, atomic number 8, oxygen, mass number 16, 9 is fluorine, atomic number mass number 19, 10 neon, 20 is mass number 11, sodium Na, 23, 12 magnesium, 24, 13 aluminium, 27, 14 silicon, 28, 15 phosphorus, 31, 16 sulfur, 32, 17 chlorine, 35 or 37, we will talk about that later, 18 argon, 40, 19 potassium, 39, 20 calcium, 40. These 20 elements you have to remember along with the mass number. There is a difference between mass number and atomic mass. That part we will see. Of an element. I am taking sodium as an example. Atomic number is 11 and mass number is 23. So here we know number of protons 11, number of electrons 11, and that of number of neutrons 12. So if I want to measure the mass of one sodium atom, what I need to do is I need to add the masses of all the protons, all neutrons and all electrons. Just now we have seen that mass of electron is very negligible as compared to protons or neutrons. That's why we are just taking all the masses of protons and neutrons. So mass of one proton is 1 AMU. So there are 11 such protons. So 11 AMU contribution from protons, and neutrons there are 12. So 12 AMU contribution from neutrons. So this becomes 23 AMU. Now from the earlier calculation, if you want to know, convert that into let us say gram, then this conversion factor can be used into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. We know 1 AMU is equal to 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. So if I want to convert that into gram, so then I need to simply multiply this. Now the things are in gram. So what is this? This is actually mass of one sodium atom. In general, mass of any one atom, if you want to calculate, then that is called as atomic mass. Atomic mass can be represented in AMU or can be represented in gram. What you have to do is simply whatever mass number is there. In this case, it is straight away mass number is taken. In all, it is not the case in all the elements. Here we are just taking 23 as the atomic mass and converting AMU into gram just by multiplying. So both are indicating mass of one atom, that is called as atomic mass. Now the greatest problem with this is which is not measurable in normal scale. So we know normal scale has maybe 4 digits like this in the display, and in this case if you see 10 raised to minus 24 is like 0.0000, after 23 number will come. So that means you are not going to cover entire range of that in the normal scale. So that's why we have to convert this into a measurable quantity. So that means you have to remember here mass of one atom cannot be measured in normal scale. So now question can be asked, what about if I want to calculate mass of let us say 10 sodium atoms? What I need to do is mass of one atom we know 23, I can simply multiply by 10 here, so 230 AMU becomes the mass of 10 sodium atoms. And if you don't want to calculate in AMU, if you want to calculate in gram, then 23 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 into 10 if you make, then that will be in terms of gram. So you can measure mass of n number of atoms in AMU as well as in gram. If you want to keep in AMU, then atomic mass into that number you have to multiply, and if you want to express in grams, then 23 into that 10 and into 1.67 into 10 to minus 24 as a conversion factor you can calculate. But still, even if you increase that to 1000 or 1 lakh also, or 10,000 for that matter, as long as this 10 raised to minus 24 don't get removed, it won't get converted into normal scale. Okay, then what I do, straight away I'll go for a very big number, that is mass of 6 into 10 raised to 23 sodium atoms. So I'll be going extremely large number. If I want to measure the mass of 6 into 10 raised to 23 sodium atoms, then what I need to do, this is for 1 atom. For 10, I will multiply with 10. And for 100, I will multiply with 100. So here also same thing. So 23 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 into 6 into 10 raised to 23. So this is 23 into 1.67 into 6 divided by 10. So here whole calculation if you do, you will realize that is come out to be 1.000 something. So that means 23 gram. Now what is the difference between 23 AMU and 23 gram is the count of atoms, where 23 gram is called as gram atomic mass. Gram atomic mass, which is in short called as GAM, gram atomic mass. So gram atomic mass is actually mass of these many atoms. Now look at the calculation, there you can understand for a given element, let us say sodium in our case, 23 cannot be changed. 23 cannot be changed because it is the fixed mass number. Can we change 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24? We cannot change these either. Why? Because that is a conversion factor. So what is in our hand is the count. So it is the mass number or atomic mass, and this is the number of conversion factor for AMU and AMU into gram, and this is the total count. So here you can keep on changing this number, thereby you can calculate the number or total mass of that many numbers. So here I am taking 6 into 10 raised to 23. If I multiply, I am getting 23 gram. By doing so, I can now remember 23 AMU is mass of 1 atom, 23 gram is mass of 6 into 10 raised to 23. Now why I have taken only this number? Now it is easy to remember mass number of any element. And if I am remembering the same mass number or atomic mass in terms of gram, then I will remember how many atoms are there in that. So that means why I am doing that, so this particular number cannot be changed. If this is not changed, then this number cannot be changed also. Why? Because if I multiply these two, then only I am going to get 1. Mathematically only one number is possible to make it 1. Now remember, this number cannot be any fraction, this has to be whole number. Why? Because this is indicating the number of atoms. Number of atoms always whole number. So this has to be whole number. You may think like I will do 1 upon this number so that it will become 1. No, I cannot take. I have to take this as whole number. So now 23 gram is measurable in normal scale. Definitely 1 gram is also measurable in normal scale, but remembering, yeah, converting things into 1 gram, not feasible. Why? Because all the elements, if I take 1 gram, may not be containing same number of atoms. But I'll be taking 6 into 10 raised to 23 and multiplying with this. This has to be there because we are converting that into gram. Then I can realize that 23 gram containing this many atoms. Let me take one more example here. So if I go for potassium, that is 30, 19 and 39. So where if I am saying 39 AMU, so that is mass of 1 atom. Mass of 1 atom. If I consider 39 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24, again that is mass of 1 atom but expressed in gram just by converting the conversion with the conversion factor. Now if I say 39 gram, when it is possible, if I multiply this one with the count as 24, if I multiply with 10, then it is for 10 potassium atoms. If I multiply with 6 into 10 raised to 23, then that means 6 into 10 raised to 23 potassium atoms. Then the calculation becomes 39 gram. And 39 gram is the mass of these many atoms. So that means when I change the element, this particular atomic mass or mass number will change. These two never change. Why? Because this is fixed as a conversion factor, and to make it 1, I need to make this particular thing fixed. So that means now onwards, whatever element I take and its mass number or its atomic mass is represented in AMU, then I will take, okay, atomic mass is mass of one atom of an element. One atom of an element. So that can be expressed in AMU or gram. That of gram atomic mass, nothing but mass of 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of that element. Now this will be always in grams. So difference between atomic mass and gram atomic mass is simply you are expressing same thing in gram, but you have to remember count has been changed to 6 into 10 raised to 23. Yes, they are same wherever there is no isotopes of that element. If element is having single isotope or it is having isotopes but the other isotopes are having abundance percentage is very less as compared to the main one. For example, in the case of hydrogen, if I go, so hydrogen does have isotopes like this, but the abundance in the nature, their abundance in the nature is very very less. So that's why we, even if you consider the mass contribution from deuterium or tritium, this is deuterium or tritium, so it won't affect the atomic mass. Why? Because the abundance is less. That's why remember, mass number may not be always equal to atomic mass. So then what is atomic mass? Atomic mass is calculated in different way. Number one, I will say something called as average atomic mass. So average atomic mass is actually mass number of one isotope. If there are many isotopes, then I will be taking mass number of one isotope into percentage abundance of, I would say, mass number of first isotope and percentage abundance of first isotope plus next mass number of second isotope and I'm multiplying with its percentage abundance. So I can keep on going like this depending on how many isotopes are present, and finally divided with 100, because here percentage we have taken, divided with 100. If you don't take percentage, then no need to divide with 100. This can keep on going depending on how many isotopes. For example, in the case of hydrogen there are 3. So if I take one example here, chlorine has 2 isotopes, okay, 1735, and that of one more chlorine is 1737. Their percentage isotope is, this is 70% present in the nature and this is 25% present in the nature. So this percentage will be given to you if anytime if you are asked to calculate average atomic mass. Now what happens, simply you are calculating the average atomic mass is equal to mass number of first isotope, I am talking about chlorine now, 35 is the mass number, into 75% plus 37 into 25% divided with 100. There are 2 isotopes, so we are only closing with 2 isotopes, and this is come out to be 35.5. Now AMU you can say, or you can convert that later into grams and everything. Now if the percentage is given in terms of percent, then it is fine. Otherwise their ratio might be given. If the ratio is given, then what happens? Same thing can be written like this, 37, 7, and its ratio may be written as 0.75 or 3/4 we can say. And that of chlorine 37, 17, this is 0.25. So in this case, you no need to divide with 100. You can simply take 35 into 0.75 plus 37 into 0.25. This will give us 35.5 AMU. So it is all depending on whether this ratio is given or the percentage is given. If percentage is given, then you can go with this. If the ratio is given, then this can be used. So this is how we can calculate average atomic mass wherever there are more than two isotopes are existing in the nature. In the case of hydrogen also we can do this, but their percentage is very less. This is 99%, yeah, 98 point something, 98.5% like that. So its percentage is so large, then their mass contribution won't affect. So that's why the atomic mass becomes 1.008, where we can consider this as 1 as atomic mass, which is similar to that of mass number, where if you actually see, then the mass number is, atomic mass is this one, and this 0.008 came because of the, we have taken average there. There is one more formula to calculate atomic mass, is called as, it is obtained from Dulong's and Petit's law. Dulong-Petit's law, that is actually atomic mass into, if I multiply with specific heat, then that has to be equal to 6.4. Here if you know the specific heat of any element, then you can calculate the atomic mass simply by dividing that specific heat, okay, here, and rearranging this equation. 6.4 divided by specific heat will give you atomic mass. But here you have to remember, this is only for solid elements. This is only for solid elements, and there are exceptions like beryllium, boron, carbon. These actually change their specific heat as per temperature. Changeable. Specific heat is changeable here as per temperature. As you increase the temperature, specific heat will change. So that's why we cannot use over here. Other than this, solid elements we can use. Okay. There is one more formula that you have to remember. That is atomic mass is equal to equivalent mass into valency. So then mass number may vary. One chemical reaction, let us say sodium reacting with chlorine, giving me a molecule of NaCl, sodium chloride. So here if I try to understand this, one atom of sodium reacts with one atom of chlorine, giving me one molecule of NaCl. So where NaCl is a compound, so it is made up of molecules. Now in terms of weight, if I say this is 23 AMU and that of this is 35.5 AMU, and they are getting combined, so this will be 58.5 AMU. Now since it is about one atom, so this is atomic mass. You can convert this into gram just simply by converting into that conversion factor, 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24. So this is also atom, so this is atomic mass, and this is one molecule, this is called as molecular mass. So molecular mass is actually mass of one molecule, and that is actually the sum of atomic masses of combining atoms. So here sodium 23 and chlorine 35.5, collectively it is 58.5 AMU. It is a molecular mass of one molecule. Now can we express this in gram? Yes, just by multiplying 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 will convert that into gram. So if I increase the count, otherwise if I say this same thing as 23 gram, if I say this as 35.5 gram, and if I say this as 58.5 gram, now what has been changed here? Here number of counts changed. How? So how we have converted this 23 into 23 gram? I have see there is a change in the unit, that means I need to multiply that with 1.6. So I will write here as 23 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24. This I need to make, that will become gram. But again this number won't be there, that means I need to multiply same thing with 6 into 10 raised to 23, then it becomes 23 gram. That means what, the moment I said 23 AMU as 23 gram, that means I need to remember there are 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of sodium present in this. When I say 35.5 gram, I need to know 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of chlorine present there. Similarly, when I say 58.5 gram, then 6 into 10 raised to 23 molecules of NaCl present there. So you might be wondering, then how come this is fine, because we have seen the calculation. Here also same thing, when I say 58.5 AMU, I am talking about one molecule mass, molecular mass of one molecule, molecular mass of one molecule, that is true. Now same thing can be expressed in terms of gram also, that is 58.5 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 gram. I am saying the same thing, but now in expressing in gram. But the moment I started saying 58.5 gram, what has been changed there is, I have started saying 58.5 gram, changed this one, that 58.5 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 24 is now multiplied with 6 into 10 raised to 23, and this is the count. And here we have increased the count to 6 into 10 raised to 23. That means 58.5 gram contains 6 into 10 raised to 23 NaCl molecules. In short, what we can understand is, whenever molecular mass is represented in terms of gram, this has to contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 molecules of that, because in the case of compound, it is molecules. So then this particular 58.5 gram is called as gram molecular mass. Gram molecular mass. And here we know this is called as gram atomic mass, shortly called as GAM, gram atomic mass. GAM, gram atomic mass. Here we can say gram molecular mass, GMM. So whenever I say molecular mass or atomic mass in gram, it must contain these many quantities. So we conclude now. We understood the importance of this number. So 6 into 10 raised to 23 is to be very precisely called as 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 is actually denoted as Na. Don't consider it as sodium. Sodium is having small letter a there and it is not subscribed. In this case, capital letter N and capital letter A, and A is subscript, is called as Avogadro's number. Avogadro's number or Avogadro's constant. Now this particular number is very important to define mole. So 1 mole is the amount of substance. It is the amount of substance. It is the amount of substance that contains 6 into 10 raised to 23 entities or particles. Anything here you can take. When I say 1 mole of something, then that must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 of that particles. Yeah, if I am talking about element, then if I am saying 1 mole of sodium, 1 mole of sodium if I am saying, then it must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of that, because sodium is an element. Similarly, when I say 1 mole of chlorine, then this must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of chlorine. So here I am saying 1 mole of NaCl, sodium chloride, it must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 molecules of NaCl. So in general, I will be considering it as particle. You can apply this for anything. If I am saying 1 mole of chocolates, then it must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 chocolates. If I am saying 1 mole of electrons, then it must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 electrons. Anything is 1 mole must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23. When I say 1 mole of sodium, it must contain, sodium is an element, it must contain 6 into 10 raised to 23 atoms of sodium. And in another way, we also know that these many atoms will also carry, weigh the mass equal to gram atomic mass, that is 23 gram in the case of sodium. Any substance, 1 mole of any substance, right now I am not knowing whether the substance is compound or an element, I can say it must contain 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 particles, the smaller particles of that substance. But if I know that substance is element, then I can say 1 mole of any element, 1 mole of any element is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 atoms. So here elements are made up of atoms, so that's why I'm using atoms there. If I'm knowing substance as compound, then 1 mole of any compound is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 molecules. So these many molecules. While doing the calculation, you no need to go for this 0.22, otherwise you can use this as 6 into 10 raised to 23. So in general, you don't know what is a substance, then you can use the general word particles. If you know the substance is element or compound, you can specifically mention what it is. So we know these many atoms of that element is equal to gram atomic mass. So whatever that element is, so these many atoms will weigh equal to gram atomic mass, and that of these many molecules of that compound will weigh gram molecular mass. In general, if the substance is not known to us whether it is element or compound, then I can use a general word called as molar mass. I can use molar mass as a general word. So I can replace this gram atomic mass as molar mass or gram molecular mass as molar mass, which is a general one. But if you are knowing very specifically, then use gram atomic mass or gram molecular mass for compound. Now one more thing you have to remember, so we are just taking from some other topic, so remember this as it is. We'll be understanding this why it is that 1 mole of any gas always occupies 22.4 liter of volume at STP or at NTP. So this as a note you just remember, 1 mole of any gas will occupy 22.4 liter of volume at STP or NTP. STP and NTP are standard conditions. These are standard conditions where temperature, pressure and varied. So in this case, if you keep temperature as, let us say, 0 degrees Celsius and pressure as 0.98 atmosphere, and in the case of NTP this is 20 degrees Celsius or 1 atmosphere. If you keep this condition, then volume of the gas will be 22.4 liter. Remember, this is only for gases. Why? Because gases only, look at this, 1 mole and 22.4. So 1 mole of any substance, if that substance is gas, then I can say this must be equal to 22.4 liter, and this value is called as molar volume. Volume occupied by 1 mole is called as molar volume. So this must be equal to 22.4, and yes, at STP or NTP. And this fourth relation that we have done, 1, 2, this third relation whatever we have done here, that is only for gases. Only for gases. You cannot apply this for solid or liquid. But first 3 can be applied for solid, liquid, gases. Any physical state of matter can be used here. So this last one is only for gases. And here also, if I'm talking about element like helium gas, oxygen gas, neon gas, these all are elements, elemental gases. Chlorine gas, then that gas must be 22.4 liter, okay, of they must occupy 22.4 liter volume if we are taking 1 mole of gas. And I'm here specifically saying about the element like helium, neon, chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen, these all are elemental gases, and I'm taking 1 mole of them at STP. They must have volume 22.4 liter. Now don't consider okay. Now if I go for compound, In the case of compound also, it can be equal to 22.4 liter. Now compounds like HCl, ammonia, CO2 gas, NO2 gas, SO2 gas, these all are compounds in gas form. So they will occupy 22.4 liter of volume at STP if I am taking 1 mole. So remember, this is for 1 mole. If I am talking about 2 mole, then this will become double. 3 mole, then it will be thrice of this. So I cannot use water as an example here. Water is liquid. Remember this, water is liquid. So 1 mole of water may not be equal to never be equal to 22.4 liter, because water is liquid and it is having definite volume. So liquid and solids are not used in this case. Only gases are used. Elemental gases or compound gases can be used. In general also we can understand this. Remember, whenever you are talking about liquid and solid, don't use this relation. So in general it is called as molar volume. Now after understanding this relation, we are now reached to 3 basic formula of mole concept. What is that? Now all the time we know whenever it is 6 into 10 raised to 23, then only it is equal to 1 mole. What if some question saying 10 particles or 20 particles? Then how much is that mole? Question can be asked, 10 particles is how much? Okay, in terms of mole, what is the mole of 10 particles if they are present? Then that 10 particles will be considered as given number of particles. So given number of particles, this is question specific. Given number of particles. Some question may ask like 100 particle is how much mole, 1000 particle is how much mole. Then this 1000 particle, 100 particles will be considered as given number of particle, and we are just converting that with how many moles. So 1 mole is 6 into 10 raised to 23. So given number of particles, whatever it may be, how much is that mole? So here we can do simply cross multiplication. Then I will get a formula that is x mole equal to given number of particles into 1, given number of particles into 1 divide by 6 into 10 raised to 23. You can take 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 also. So this is how we can calculate mole, okay, from any given random number of particles. Let us say 100 particles of helium. Then how to convert that into mole? 100 upon 6 into 10 raised to 23. That is 100 is given number of particles. Simply dividing with 6 into 10 raised to 23 will make it mole. Converting into mole is very important later on. You will understand that. So this is very quick formula to convert number of particles into mole. Now let us proceed to mass. Any random mass is given. For example, in the case of sodium only, let us assume only 23. For sodium, only 23 gram will be considered as gram atomic mass, and that is equal to 1 mole. But if the question is like 10 gram of sodium, that 10 gram will become the given mass. 10 gram is now called as given mass. Why? Because that is question specific, and now they are asking us to calculate 10 gram is how much mole for sodium. So what we will do is 1 mole is equal to 23 gram. Since I am taking example of sodium, I am saying 23 gram. If I am taking potassium, then it will be 39 gram. If I am talking about calcium, then it will be 40 gram. So 1 mole is 23 gram, and this 10 gram is how much mole. So I can do like this. So then I'll be doing cross multiplication. So then second formula be arrived, that is x mole equal to given mass into 1, given mass into 1 divide by gram atomic mass, divide by gram atomic mass. Now same thing can be done for compounds also. If I am talking about HCl, 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram or anything random gram will be considered as given mass, and its molecular mass will be kept here. So in this case you can also keep this as gram molecular mass, or in general we anyway know it as molar mass. So this denominator is depending on element or substance, what substance we are talking about, whether it is element or compound. Denominator can be gram atomic mass or gram molecular mass. In general, you can also use molar mass. So then we can convert that into mole. For example, in the case of sodium, let us say they are asked us to calculate 100 gram is how much mole. Okay, 100 gram is how much mole. Then 100 gram becomes the given mass. So 100 divided by, now gram atomic mass. For sodium it is 23. So 23, I will get the mole here. Similarly, if I'm asked to calculate, let us say water. So 10 gram of water is how much mole. Now water, oxygen is 16 and hydrogen is 2, plus 18 gram becomes the gram molecular mass for water. So 10 gram upon 18 will give me mole. So this is how we can calculate any random mass. This is how we can calculate any random mass into mole. Now the third formula is any random volume is given. Let us say 10 liter is given. If 10 liter is given, then 10 liter may not be 22.4, or 10 liter may not be 1 mole. So 1 mole is actually 22.4 liter. Then what about this 10 liter? Then 10 liter is considered as given volume. This is very question specific. So given volume. So how much is mole? Now we can cross multiply these two. 1 mole is 22.4 liter. So given volume is how many mole? Then the third formula that we get is mole equal to given volume into 1 divided by 22.4 liter. So these three are the basic formula that you have to remember to convert number of particles into mole, or mass into mole, or volume into mole. Now third rule, this is only for gases. This is only for gases, that too at STP. So these two can be used for any other compounds. Now remember, in the case of equation 1 and equation 3, the denominator is not going to change. But in the case of equation number 2, denominator change from substance to substance. So where it is helpful, if I am saying, let us say 100 particles, 100 atoms of sodium, or I am saying 100 atoms of calcium. So in terms of mole, it does not change. It won't change. Why? Because 100 atoms divided by, I am going to do 6 into 10 raised to 23, and no matter which substance I am taking, 100 atoms will be same mole actually. 100 atoms of sodium is equal to, in terms of mole, 100 atoms of calcium, because 100 divided by 6 into 10 raised to 23 I am going to make, and this divisor is not going to change from substance to substance. Similarly, if I am saying, let us say 10 liter of helium and 10 liter of neon, if I am saying at STP, again mole wise they are equal. Why? Because 10 liter upon 22.4 I am going to do for helium, 10 liter upon 22.4 I am going to do for neon also. So in terms of mole they are equal. Even equal number of atoms will be having same mole, but equal number of mass may not be having same mole. That means if I say 10 gram of sodium and 10 gram of calcium, if I am using this, now to convert that into mole, what I need to do is 10 gram divided by 23 I need to make, because gram atomic mass is 23, and here 10 upon 40 I need to make. So 40 is the atomic mass of calcium. To understand, equal number of atoms will be having same mole, equal number of different things will be having same mole, equal volume of different things will be having same mole, but equal mass of different things may not be same mole. That will change as per the molar mass. So what we can understand is equal mass of different thing